Welcome back to Sonic the Hedgehog reads SML saying our goodbyes to Jeffy. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Now let's continue where we left off. The next scene opened up with a shot of a hospital. Jeffy was in a hospital bed on life support. His ECG, electrocardiography monitor was barely beeping, and it looked like it was about to flatline at any moment. Jeffy looked grotesque. He was severely thin. His face looked like a ghoul. There were wrinkles all around his eyes and mouth. Jeffy even whimpered and coughed. It didn't sound like those fake coughs. It sounded like he was in pain. It was so realistic. I almost thought I heard someone cough in my own room. Mario and his wife, Rosalina, were standing next to Jeffy. They both softly whimpered. No music was playing. The couple both silently sobbed for a while. It was sad to watch. I even felt like crying myself. Just then, the doctor came in. It was Brooklyn Tea Guy, one of my favorite characters. I was expecting him to lighten up the mood a little bit, and I hoped he'd correct one of his sarcastic jokes. But unfortunately, he only made the scene feel even more dismal. I'm sorry, Brooklyn Guy said, in a depressed voice. We've done everything we could do, but he's gone. He looked down at the floor, trying to avoid eye contact with Mario and Rosalina. Please say your final goodbyes to Jeffy. And with that said, Brooklyn Guy calmly walked out the door. Mario and Rosalina both gradually inched their way towards Jeffy, their sobbing getting louder and louder the closer they get. Goodbye, Jeffy, Mario spoken. Rosalina broke into tears before she even finished her farewell. Her crying didn't sound like the way she cries in a regular episode. Her crying sounded as though her voice actress was actually crying instead. The scene ended with a shot of Jeffy's ECG monitor as it went flat. The next scene began at the red couch where the characters usually sit on. Mario and Rosalina are both sitting there. The atmosphere of the scene didn't look right. It was dark and dreary. The couple both looked at each other and sighed. The silence soon turned into quiet whimpers. Rosalina started to cry loudly, but Mario was just sobbing faintly. The crying continued on for a minute. The scene began to distort. There was a static interference coming on the screen every now and then. The scene started to slowly turn black and white like an old movie from the 1920s. Rosalina's sobbing got louder and more distorted. I could barely even tell if she was crying anymore. Mario, on the other hand, was actually crying. His voice stayed the same as Rosalina's voice, only got worse. Jeffy, why did he have to go? Then Radiohead's Creep started playing in the background. Mario said all distraught. Oh, that's Mario, sorry. Mario said all distraught. He cried, although Mario's crying sounded like his normal crying and less realistic. Rosalina also said something. I couldn't understand her, though. As previously mentioned, her voice was too distorted. Mario continued to cry. Rosalina stopped crying, though. She just sat there, not feeling any emotion. It didn't even turn to look at Mario crying. She just stared menacingly at the camera, as if she knew I was watching. I needed to pause the video. What in the world am I watching? I exclaimed to myself. It wasn't an SML movie at all. This feels more like a sick joke pulled by Logan. But why would he make this? Logan stated he made this to express himself. it doesn't seem like he's doing that. It seems like he linked me this video just to scare me. I was praying that once the video ended, there would be a message like, "You just got wrecked, loser," or something along those lines. Or something along the line. My hand started to tremble as I placed it on my mouse and clicked the play video. As the scene of crime finally ended, it faded to black. It cut to the room. From that one episode, The Secret Door. The bodies were there, as always, but it zoomed in on Mario lying there on the floor with a shotgun right next to him. Then it revealed that he had killed himself, and even showed his brain matter and blood on the walls. I almost threw up. It was too detailed. The brain matter, the blood, even the body. Whoa. Then the music stopped, and there was a loud static interference. It startled me to death. I was holding my hand near my chest and breathing slowly. I couldn't take this anymore. I really wanted to stop, but I needed to know whether or not this was a joke. I pressed on. The static only lasted 25 seconds or so, until it finally stopped and showed something to this day I cannot explain. The scene transitioned to a distorted Jeffy's body. The body was mangled. Both of his eyes were ripped out and replaced with empty black holes for sockets. There was something all over him as he was torn to pieces. The music playing in the background was a piano being played normally, except the other instruments being played were all glitched out and hard to listen to. A slight murmur is faintly audible. It almost sounds like Jeffy whimpering, as he was in the hospital bed from before. Sorry about that. Anyway, the camera zooms into Jeffy's sliced up face. It almost resembled a crime scene. I couldn't believe my eyes. As I had my hands over my mouth and I breathed heavily, I shuddered like an earthquake. I just wished this was all just a bad nightmare, or a bad dream in this case, and that I had to wake up. After the scene slowly faded to black, as the music continues to play, while text on the black background appeared, it said, "You made me do this." The text fades away along with the music, and the video ends. There wasn't anything after that, not even an SML question. I was distraught. I wailed and cried in the corner as I laid on my stomach for a little while. Once I came back, the video was gone, and I had this video does not exist message on the screen. I tried refreshing, but I got the same message. I was so scared and confused. I got my phone and told my parents to come home as soon as possible. My mom responded with a simple "why?" and I replied with crying hard and pleading. My mom hung up as quickly as possible, and she sent me a text that said, "Well, we're coming home ASAP." I sat in my bed, traumatized, waiting for them to come home. Once my parents came home, I ran to them, giving them both a big hug. They hugged back as I bawled my eyes out. And this is where I will stop for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3 of Sonic the Hedgehog reads SML saying our goodbyes to Jeffy.